everyone, in this video we're just starting with an introduction to the in-class PSMT. One of the things I want you to come back to is if you're a bit stuck on what you need to do, like what's next, this is the video you come and look at, and then like each video will have the step by part after this. So there's a lot of writing. At any time pause if you're stuck, or send questions. Okay, so what we have here is the formulate stage. That covers 3 sections in your report. The introduction, 2 sections, the intro and the considerations. And in your considerations, that's the 3 parts there. So there's 1, this is 2, and then it goes 2.1, the observations, and 2.2, assumptions, and 2.3 is your plan. So these questions all are involved in there. What information do you need to solve the problem? So that would be 2.1. What information do you need to solve the problem? 2.1. Assume. Sorry, got that wrong. That's then going to be 2.2. What mathematical concept, or what's your plan? That's 2.3. This is in your plan because you should be explaining your steps that you plan on doing. So calculate the mean using the mean formula. That would be very useful. And then this would also be 2.3 because it's explaining how you might use technology in your plan. So they're the things that you would have. Remember, if you're stuck, put a table somewhere. This isn't the greatest. I would have made it even. And in the table, just have those 2 headings. As you go along in your assignment, your observations, so you would have like, the information. So players in a sport, points scored. So we're just going to use that system of it's all the points scored. Assumptions, we've discussed a couple of those in class. So things like everyone gets an equal opportunity to play, everyone plays every game. There's no like defensive, offensive kind of positioning. Everyone just plays everything together. And other things that you might think of as you come along. So remember, your observations are, is any information you've been given or anything you already know. And then your assumption is something that's not given, but you have to know it in order for the maths to work. So something like knowing that everyone has that opportunity to score is an assumption. Otherwise, if you're dealing with people who are defensive and offensive, like how do you make that comparison in terms of sport? Okay, so once you've got those things, you follow the plan that you've built here, and you follow it in here. So you'll see that I have split it up into its solve sections using the plan 1, 2, 3, and you just go through making sure that you've got calculations, explaining things, recording results. So make sure you've got all those things there. I'll break that down more specifically in a solve video. And then in your evaluate, consider these 4 aspects. Now, if you make a comment about all of these, then you're doing really well with your evaluation section in terms of your how you're being assessed on it. So those 4 aspects. So we're looking at the procedure. So like, how did you solve the problem? Like thinking back to your plan. So you might have gone like, well, I'm going to do mean, a median mode, then range for each player. That's your process. How the calculations are reasonable. So like, did you use technology to help you make that? And then you're linking back to your assumption and observations, because without those, generally you can't do the mathematics. So you need to link back and explain that. And then if you have any strengths or limitations, that's 4. So strengths and limitations, and why you have why you believe that. So give your reasons and evidence, especially if you're going for an A or a B level, because that's what A and B level students do. They provide evidence. Okay, making sure you are checking and including your grammar, spelling, please, capital letters at the start of sentences, calculations using formula, substitute and answer. So you're showing you're working out, even if it's just those 3 steps. If you have to put in a calculator, you have to write it on paper or type it up. I don't care, but calculations, it goes in the calculator, it goes down on paper. You explain what your figures are, so like what your table includes, and don't forget your section reports. All right, so that is short and sweet, all the steps in a nutshell. That's what you need to know. I will just go back. No, I'll do that in actually here. All right, this section here with the soul. There are 3 things I want you must include, and I'm going to pause it so I can write them down. So here they are. These are the things that I'm expecting from you in your solution section that you must include. You are going to construct 5 new players data using random number generator. You have to consider Abby as your 6th player. So you will have 5 new players. So you won't have the same numbers as what the example has there, plus Abby with all her conditions. And then the last thing you need to do is determine the most valuable player on the team that you have. Now you can pick whatever sport you want it to be, that's fine, or you can make up any other sport, but it must include those 3 things as a minimum. Righto, let's get into the next video of considering your solution. Okay.